Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. I want to start out today. I apologize for not doing a podcast last week. Basically, there just wasn't much going on. 316, I believe, had just dropped to the PTU, and it was in Wave 1. Not many people had played it yet, or I can't even remember the timeline of 316 right now. It's been kind of a mess. But basically, there just wasn't much to discuss. But this week, I feel like there's a lot to discuss. We had 316 roadmap update pop up. And they kind of shared why 316 isn't a thing at all, and that was pretty crazy. And I thought that they were somewhat patronizing in the comments, as well as they did the right thing for once. So there's that. But as you can see, the title is Star Citizen 2021 Review Show. They did an ISC this week where they went through the entire year of all the things they did. Most of the things that they did was released spaceships for the first half of the year. The second half of the year I thought was super duper positive in a way of starting to prioritize the gamifying of things. There's reputation now, there's looting, there's loot, there's inventories, there's ship inventories, there's medical gameplay, all in not a very good state. But them being in the game at all, I think, is a massive positive. And in my opinion, this year was the best year that Star Citizen has ever had. Now, this is one thing I want to do at the beginning of the show as well that I have never done before. This is the Answer the Call podcast. It's recorded on Sunday mornings, Eastern time, US East time in the morning. Today it's at 8:22 in the morning. Normally it would be at about 10 a.m. in the morning. I just have a hockey game very early today that I have to go to, so we're starting it a bit early. So if you ever want to join the show, it's twitch.tv/SaltEMike and discord.gg/SaltEMike to pop in on, kind of share your opinions on the show. And the whole point of the show is to give people who aren't necessarily content creators a platform to share their opinions on the topics of the day. Whereas a lot of other podcasts just bring on other creators, and it creates this echo chamber of Star Citizen content creators really only caring about Star Citizen being better to create content. And I don't think that that's necessarily a positive. So I want to hear your year in review. I want to hear what you think about 316. And yeah, if you're watching the show, feel free to join the queue. We have a decent queue right now, but we still have room for more of you guys. So without further ado, I think this was the best year Star Citizen ever had, mostly because all of the other years were so poor. And this year was the first year that I thought that there were some kind of things to dive your fingers into a little bit, but in general, still not a very good year, but the best in comparison to everything else. That's kind of how I feel, and I think it was just generally because of reputation, dynamic events, inventory, loot, those kind of things. The actual things that you play have become a priority for Star Citizens for the first time ever. It's not about planet tech or clouds, even though that was a bit of a focus this year as well, right? So, without further ado, we're going to bring in our first caller, Sigma Naught, and I asked everybody to give us their one positive and one negative before we kind of dive into the year in review, I guess. So Sigma, let's start out with that. One positive and one negative from Star Citizen for you.
Sure. Just confirming I've got mic going.
You sound great.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So, I had a list, but that'll be, yeah, I guess I'll go with the best thing that I would say would be the stability for sure.
Yeah.
I really think that this last patch, like I'm gonna call 315 the last patch of the year, to be honest, because 316
Very fair.
is sort of just like an event.
Well, 315 is 36. Like they literally told us too. The 316 branch did not get integrated in, so yeah, we're still playing 315 if you're playing the PTU of 316. So they just named it 316 incorrectly, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm calling 316 315-2, to be honest. So that sort of answers the what do I think about 316.
Totally fair.
But I would say, like, the part that goes hand in hand with that stability is sort of them putting in that tier 0 inventory stuff. as well as the gold standard passes and the experience with ships and combat that they have done throughout this year, I think of the changes that they did decide to take a risk on and go with have definitely paid off. And I think overall, the stability, the inventory, the changes to the combat with ships, the way that ships are sort of being presented in terms of their in-game ability,
Yep.
would say that what makes the best part of this year for me with SC is just how engaging it has been able to be. Holding that attention in bursts throughout the year for me has been definitely a highlight. I wouldn't say it was the best year of SC, but I would definitely say it was the best year of things in SC. And I think it's the
what
first
was the best
step.
year? If you didn't think this
For
year
me,
was,
it's still for me it's the rose tinted glasses of 2019 coming into all of these things that we don't have now that are either broken or face a threat to the economy of the game, for example. But I don't want to go too far off into that because I feel like there's a lot of feedback that will probably come in after Jumptown that'll probably be a make or break with what the devs need to start opening up to. And I think things like reputation sort of open up that conversation on
sure.
early next year. Are they actually going to start saying, okay, instead of saying, right, we're going to give you a 20% bonus for doing this, are they going to start opening up of more, here's some new activities that you're going to do, and we're not just going to give you money as a reward, we're going to give you other incentives to
Yeah, experiences, components, rewards.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's too early to say. So for me, I wouldn't really dive into that because there's still more that needs to sort of be answered on that front.
Okay.
I guess the other part's the negative, right? I guess for me personally, my top negative is just the roadmap. To be honest, it's still the roadmap after it's coming up 2 years now. And the latest communications on how they've presented that I feel is really representative of how everybody feels about these patches coming into the end of the year. Is that my perspective ever since the progress tracker and the release view has come out is that the release view is a wish list. It's not a roadmap. It is literally a board that says we as CIG want to do all of these things. And once we commit something, that's us saying, cool, we've got it to a point where we can have it in the live build and you can mess around with it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually functional. It's just, it's in. And I think my biggest disappointment with that was how heavily they were pushing the infiltrate and defend missions during SitCon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at them now, literally everybody can quote 1 out of 10 on those things, and it's in an absolute really bad state.
Yeah.
And when people are like, but what about like the volatile cargo missions? It's like you've just taken something that was in Xenothreat and put it outside of that event. Like, why don't we have Xenothreat all the time? Why does it have to be a certain time of the year that it has to be that drive? And coming into 316, I feel like the argument when someone's like, go look at the roadmap, it's like, but how can we now? Like, you're saying stuff is released, but it's not where it should be. Like, I hate to be that guy, but I'm pretty sure all the Ion owners right now would say, okay, that ship is released, but is it in the same state now as it was just mere weeks ago? Probably not.
I mean,
And
should
then
it
the
have
other
ever been in
stinger,
the state that it was in a few weeks ago?
exactly, right? Yeah. Like, there's a whole conversation that rips open there. And I think the worst one of all that personally still irks me is that when someone, without naming names, says, go look at the progress tracker, I think the biggest kick to the face, proverbially, is when someone says, right, this is how something has been worked on over time, but the end of that, as per the progress tracker, is not representative of anything that could continue to happen after that date. And to me, I see that as a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
I think the bigger negative part is that they need a very, very clear way to say, right, this bar ends here, but because we may actually want to do more, we need to have some visualization that states, oh, we're working on the BMM now, and it's currently set for this date. Like, what happens if they get to the end of that day and there's no communication? Like, I feel like them even adding something to that could open up a lot of wounds for a lot of people. But I feel like there's nothing better than being clear about what your intent is and what your goals are and what you want to set forth for people as far as expectations are concerned. Because frankly, I'm really sick and tired of the community team putting the onus on us of why are we so negative towards you? Why are we so hostile in our interactions with you? And it's like, because you set yourself up to have these conversations that shouldn't be happening in the first place. And
Yeah.
you could be doing a lot better of a job to say right out the gate, oh, why was sitcom so disappointing? And then 2 days later, we're finding about some of the greatest features that you're putting into the game in years, and you've just chosen not to communicate that. That to me is like night and day, like really bad comms going somewhere that shouldn't be
What?
going
I,
somewhere.
let me jump in for a
Yeah,
second, just because I'm a
yeah.
little. The last thing you just said, like, we put in the greatest things that you've had in years, but didn't communicate them. What do you mean by that?
Well, the 30k recovery wasn't mentioned at all during SitCon, at all. It literally got mentioned maybe 2 days after it.
It,
So we
well, do you
kind of
think it
coming out.
was? Do you
Mm,
think it was possible that, well, first off, Citizen Cons recorded over a certain period of time, and then it was edited
mm,
into something. So this wasn't a live event. So if Citizen Con was live, there may have been a chance that like somebody like Chad McKinney could have come on and been like, "Hey, we're working on this thing. We might have it ready for you. We might not." Um,
mm.
it could be possible that he just put his head down for a few days and figured out that problem, and those days happen to be after CitizenCon, right? Now,
Yeah.
I
So
just so you
yeah.
know, I agree with you like 1,000% on everything that you've said
Mm,
previously. I just want you to clarify that because I didn't understand.
yeah. No, and that's an absolutely reasonable way to present that. I just feel that the general mood from a lot of people after CitizenCon was what's going on. Um, how are we here a year later?
Yeah,
I remember a time when Crusader came out that we were supposed to be heading to Pyro.
yeah,
Like that's not here yet. I remember when the possibility of that being here was going to be also met with server meshing. Um, I mean, where are we with that? A lot of these questions don't have answers, and the way that it's being presented is either we don't know, or we don't have the tech, or we're building the tech and we don't know, or some combination of the two. Um, and at least for me personally, I feel like it's better to kind of just say that up front because I don't think it's unfair or unreasonable to tell people that so that they can set that expectation for themselves and then sort of say, right, if I want a clean break, and maybe that clean break might be 12 months. That's 12 months that I could spend going and doing something healthy and productive, and then coming back to it with fresh eyes, a better point of view, a healthier perspective, rather than 24 months of how do we not have server meshing? How is the desync still a problem? Why are these ships like being sold but never get worked on? Why are these carrots being dangled that don't do anything, that don't benefit anybody? And a lot of those statements that I'm sort of throwing out there are a lot of things that can be perceived in a lot of different ways by a lot of different people with
yeah.
how closely and emotionally embedded they are into the project. And I feel like the problem that CIG is that unwittingly they do prey on that at times. It's not necessarily always their fault because they are a business. They have to make money to do what they want to do. But
And we're just as
to quote
accountable for these problems as they are at
exactly,
times.
right?
Yeah,
Every time we open our wallets, we're also equally accountable for that. But at the same time, we're $420 million deep into this thing, and there has to be a point in time where we sort of have to start asking those questions of not necessarily how much is too much, but with how much we are spending, what's going on? Where are we going from here? It can't be the same conversation that we're having in 2019. And to speak on everybody's behalf with regards to salvage, we're coming into December of this year, and we've got a whole gameplay loop that's just completely up in the air. And we've got another one that was looking really, really exciting as far as mining was concerned, and that's sort of just shoveled off to the side. Um, I would be way more impressed with CIG to kind of come out the gate in the last few weeks of the year and just say, we tried too much. We did do a lot throughout the year and we own it. But I guess the final statement that I would say is that 2021 to me feels like fun with caveats. They tried a lot, but they sacrificed too much along the way to make that happen.
Sure.
And I feel if they come out the gate for the end of the year and just say, look, yeah, we did do too much, but we are happy with what we've got in, and we know that you guys are reasonably happy with what we got, but we also want to establish right into January or when we come back into the office that this is what we want to do. This is what we want to sort of set the standard for, and we hope that you guys will be there to be able to join us on that journey. If they can't do that, and then it's just going to be an up in the air sort of conversation of like, what is going to happen? Like, I'm not too keen on being engaged with something that I'm not going to hear about until June next year. That to me is sort of like, yeah, I don't like that approach, whether CIG likes that or not. But yeah, that's my soapbox for now. I hope I've answered all of the pros and the cons right out the gate.
I think so.
Cool.
I think it's much better to speak to you in voice than to talk to you over Discord, because I think it's way clearer. Just for clarity, what I mean by that, guys, is I've gotten extraordinarily frustrated trying to have conversations with Sigma over text in Discord about these specific subjects, because you can't. It's so much more difficult to share your point of view that way. And this makes it so much better.
I would also say, like, this year has been an absolute roller coaster. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
I did not believe that 315 was going to have any real impact, and I would say that there are definitely parts of it that I've been thoroughly engaged in.
Yeah.
But I would still argue that there are definitely points that a lot of people, and I think yourself would definitely be included in this, where you would say, there's a lot here, but I really still want just that little bit more. And I feel like pretty much everybody that's playing this in every way, shape, or form probably would agree with that.
Of course. How can you disagree with that? It's not finished. It's not even close to finished. We of course we would want more, and honestly it needs more. And all the devs feel that way. We feel that way. Everybody feels that way. Yeah. But it just comes down to what's realistic and what isn't. And I think we kind of hit the nail on the head here. It's 2021 was another year waiting for server meshing. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that they did a little something more with that waiting time than what they had done in years past. Like, there is absolutely, I feel like, in my opinion, no reason why we couldn't have had inventory last year. Maybe there is. Maybe there's some like background tech that needed to be made or something that took a whole year, just like before. But
but we don't know, and I think that's the most frustrating part, right? Is no one here really has an answer to that, and I think that's really the point, is that until we do, what do we do, right?
Yeah,
it was angry.
Exactly. It was another year. It was another year where CIG attempted to communicate and did a terrible job at it, like they always do. Yeah. And nothing has really changed with that in those regards. I think like Jake coming on, Jake the roadmap guy, I think has been an overall positive. I think he's more apt to communicate than anyone else, but it still comes down to the roadmap is still, just like you said, it's a wish list. And I think that they're like that little kid in the Imagine meme. Like, have you ever had a dream? And like, that is every year's roadmap. It's just like, it's not even a wish list. It's like a child sitting on Santa's lap level of wish list asking for the world. Like, the wish list needs to just be more realistic too. So exactly. Expectations are set appropriately.
Yeah, and it goes into the words, the committed part.
That was ridiculous. Sort
of, like to me personally, like they really need to refine what that word ultimately means, in the sense of committed to us means we're giving all of our team's focus onto getting this in the patch. Period.
Well, and to like go on 316. Let's stop you there for a second though, because to go into 316, there's no doubt that's what's happening. But they had to make a choice. They had to make a choice between giving you 316, where for you, one of your biggest positives was stability. You're not going to have that if we gave you 316. And then they're going, well, we'll leave 315 and we'll put all of our effort into trying to get as much of that patch into this 315.2 as we possibly can. And so I think that's what is happening. And, you know, sometimes shit hits the fan, and this is that case. The problem is it's another patch with things falling off. Here's the deal. Every single time that you're a year out from a patch, we look at it, and it has so much more in it than when it released. Every time. It can't happen every time. It can't. They have to be more consistent.
Yeah,
end of story.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know,
and they are getting better, but there are some elements to how they go about it that need to be improved. I think probably the most frustrating part for me is that as someone who's learning how this actually works on the other side of the fence, learning about how software and everything does come together, there are things that kind of stick out that do look like, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
But I think the answer to that could probably be accounted to person that was here 5 years ago isn't here anymore. So can you get an answer for something from someone who's no longer with the company?
Yeah.
Probably not. Would it be quite easy for them to get someone that can answer that question? Probably not. So yeah, like there's a lot of things internally that sort of need to be looked at. But again, we're on the outside looking in. What can we do? You're not going to march to Winslow and be like, "Hey, I'm SaltEMike. This is what I want to have happen." No, like that's not going to happen.
No, the thing that I do is I just try to ask the question of why. That's what I've been doing the last maybe 6 to 8 months, and because somebody like Jake has been so willing to communicate, and Luke and some other people that pop in the chat occasionally, is I just ask, like, why is this still happening? Why does something like this happen in the first place? What is there something that can be done differently? Is there something that can be done better? Right? For me, the big thing, and I don't know if I mentioned at the top, is I want the live build to be treated as if it's an actual live build that people want to progress on, people want to play. And the PTU build is for something where people want to check out what's coming and provide feedback on it. I don't want the live build to... It still will be a test build. It always will be. But I don't want it to be as much of a test build as it is now.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I'm really glad that you've actually made that point, because I do agree that they need to really let go of this pre-alpha / alpha / live service, whatever they want to call abomination term. If I was to say what do I want out of 22, I would say I want less why and more what and more how. And I think if they really start honing in on that, then that's when you're going to start seeing things coming through that are going to be really, really solid. But if we're going to keep coming back to the questions in the early part of next year of why are we playing 315.3 as an example, then everybody's going to get very, very angry very quickly. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll leave what I've said there so that others can jump in and give their perspectives. But I hope that sort of illustrates, like, I hope for everybody's perspective of, like, yeah, there's definitely stuff here, but I can also understand why some people are probably saying, no, I'm going to take a step back for a little bit. Just going to see what's going on for a bit, and then maybe after Christmas things will get better. Fingers crossed. Yeah. And Merry Christmas, Mike. I hope you have a wonderful holidays with your wife and your family.
Thank you so much. All right, Sigma.
No problem.
Have a great one, buddy.
Thank you for your time.
Anytime. Yeah, Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cool.
All right, our next caller is Triac. Triac, what's up, dude? I love your mustache, by the way.
Oh, crap. Sorry. There's a delay.
Yeah, and I was a little quick to bring you in. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Good morning.
Good morning. So, let's start out with one positive and one negative.
Um, Positive, I'd have to say is like you said, like gameplay. The direction they're moving in is clearly more towards like you were saying, the live build where they're focusing on actual things to do and play. And I think play is a very important word
Yeah.
when we're talking about the live, not PTU. Like PTU, like you said, is testing. You want to just, see if the hover bikes work, whatever. But the live build should be fun.
Yeah.
And I think
And the
that's
thing
something
is,
people forget about.
yeah, not to jump in right away, but the PTU, like, for the live build to be treated more like a live build, not necessarily be like a live build from a complete product, but or a non-alpha experience or whatever. The live build to me, or the PTU build to me, should be a place where balance can happen and feedback can be given and feedback can be actioned on, and then okay, we like that, then delivered to the live build. I am not a person that believes that this game is going to come anytime soon. And I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And I feel like what we can do is we can go, okay, we all know this is going to take a long time. We all want this game to be great. So in order for me to be more patient, I think the best thing to do is to have the live experience be as smooth and as
Mhm.
balanced and as good as possible. That doesn't mean it needs to be smooth, balanced, and good, but as possible. And I don't think that they treat it like that. I think they treat it like another just alpha, throw fucking features in and let's see what
Yeah.
happens. And it's still another test build where we're still gathering feedback from the live experience. And I don't think that that's how it should be.
Yeah, and I think like that it's kind of a twofer because one of the like the main positive, like I said, was that how much stuff they put in and like
Yeah.
there's things to do and they're fun, but they're so buggy. Like
Yeah.
everything is broken.
Yeah.
Nothing works. But there's stuff to do. Like I'm not gonna lie, the majority of my play sessions usually end up with me just like running out of an airlock and dying, and then I just turn the game off. But
True.
but I was excited to go, maybe like go revive somebody, go on one of those medic things, go, do a bounty mission or like actual stuff.
You
But
can set forth a goal in the game now.
exactly. Yeah.
You usually will
Like
not achieve it because it's such a mess, but
yeah.
for the first time ever, I think in this game, you can kind of set forth a goal that you don't have to pretend. It's an actual
Exactly.
in-game goal that exists, whether it's gain reputation to get certain types of missions, like you said, like pick somebody up, go chase after a bounty, loot somebody, get this armor, like those kind of things.
Loot somebody. There's inventory now.
Yeah.
It's sick. But that leads into my negative, which, like I said, it's a 2-4 because I think something that they showed really strongly this year is that there's a disconnect with the audience. There's and I think more so they showed that with Jumptown 2.0
Yeah.
is that, and I made a comparison. I think it was in your stream, maybe sometime this week, where JT2 is basically like the Force Awakens. Like Disney seems to think that Star Wars is
This is Star
lightsabers,
Wars.
and
Yeah.
exactly. And then like so, watching everybody play it in the PTU the past week, it's fun, but it's forced fun. Like
We
there's
need the
nothing to lose.
Mandalorian.
Exactly. Or Rogue One.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there seems to be, and then again with the Ares Ion, the Cutlass Steel, like whose idea was that? Somebody's just making stuff and they're not thinking about what they're doing. I feel like there's a guy in the office who's just got all of the answers and knows exactly what we want, and there's just nobody listening to him.
Oh, I
He's
know.
just yelling at clouds in the background.
I know for a fact that that's what's happening. That there's guys in the office that know what they're talking about. But in the problem is there's 700 people. So somebody might be listening, but how do you get a collective 700 people to feel, and eventually 1,000 people or whatever, to feel and understand the game the way you and I do? When like, I don't know what you do for a living, but I deal poker for a living. I don't play poker because I deal poker all day. So I
Yeah.
don't necessarily expect Star Citizen devs to know exactly what the Star Citizen experience for a player is like, because man, I don't know if I could play it after building it. I mean, I would hope some people there are passionate enough to do so, and I know some are, but not everybody is. So how do you have everybody on the same page? It's difficult. But that's where that PTU comes in, and you gather feedback and you go, "Oh shit. You know what? We did fuck up Jumptown 2, and we got to do this right because I care." I don't feel that they don't care. I feel like they just treat things in a different in the totally wrong way. And it's not for lack of care. I just think it's just not doing it the right way, and hopefully they do in the future. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what else to say to that. It's just it's hard to create that expectation, right? For them to be a Star Citizen player and be a Star Citizen dev.
Right. And like I was saying, it's obvious that they're listening. They're just not understanding, right? They're getting the lightsabers, but they're not getting the character development.
Yeah. Yeah. And like one of the hardest things I think I heard this year was they were talking to the weapons team or something, and they were like, "Yo, why is everything a laser?"
Yeah.
And they basically go, "'Cause it's easier." And I was like, I never gave you my money for you to do what was easier. But at the same time, I look at other games and go, well, you know what? When I heal, like, they missed the point of the question. And this is like the whole thing about the communication and stuff, is they totally missed the point of the question. Because the point of the question wasn't even necessarily, I don't think about lasers. It was, now we have multicolored med pens that all do different things. When you look at Escape from Tarkov, it's like, okay, you use this for heavy bleeds, you use this for bleeds, you use this to heal yourself, but they're all just slightly different animations and a different prop. But it gives that immersive feeling or
immersion.
Yeah, and it's like now I'm slamming a purple pen into my wrist instead of a red one. And it's just like, that's not Star Citizen to me. And that's like one of the big negatives for me is when it came to their communication, when there was a legitimate, I think, like based question being asked, the answer was always just like run around, and nobody ever followed up and was like, yo, answer the fucking question, dude. Like, our community deserves this. And I think at times we don't get what we deserve from stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because like it is a how do you it's not, you can't even really call it an alpha, because it's the level of development. It's like, I understand that they're letting us play it, and that it's, it is what it is, but at the same time, there's, I don't know how to say it. The development, like you said, with the PTU, the development should be focused more on the part that's actually considered a test. The live build shouldn't have the majority of bugs it has. Like, I shouldn't die while I have a helmet on, like stepping outside of an airlock. I shouldn't die. That's there's a baseline of what should be considered playable, and they're not following that. Like you said, you can intend and plan to do things, but you're more than likely not going to actually do it or accomplish that. And that's the fun part. That's and you do, some days you get on and you don't bump into any bugs, and you do have fun. And when it's fun, it's so fun. Like, the things you can do in this game, you can only do in this game. And
this game ruins every other game for everybody who's ever played it.
100%. Like, I literally haven't touched anything. Like, I've got like, I used to be a console player. I've got a console, PS4, the latest one. I didn't even bother getting a PS5 because I started playing Star Citizen. And and if I run out of an airlock and I die and I turn it off, I'm not playing anything else. Like, there's nothing else to play. I want to jump in my ship. I want to fly across. Even when I'm not doing anything in the game's fun. Just sitting in Quantum, I feel like a freaking spaceman, and you can't get that anywhere else.
To be fair, I play lots of other games. Like people are making comments in the chat, but I always think about this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the 316 thing. Did you you mentioned the Cutlass steel? I think somebody made a comment on my second channel because I reviewed it and posted that video up there, and somebody made a comment that goes, "Wasn't there a post a while back where they talked about smaller ships will not be able to have the life support for all these people in it? Meanwhile,
Oh
Cutlass
god.
18 seats. Like what
Yeah.
the hell?"
It's a meme. It's an absolute meme. I'm calling it a meat bomb. No
I
shields, no armor. Like, what's even the point? It's just fan service, right?
yeah
It's
yeah.
let's bring back the old characters to get everybody excited for something, and then it has no purpose and like
Like I loved
just
it. I love it. Like when I saw the video of like playing for the first time, I was just like drawn in by this thing. But at the same time, it was like
yeah,
the more
because
you
it
think about
looks
it,
like a chopper. Like it just
yeah,
comes
it's
flying in
badass.
full of machine guns. But then a couple railgun shots and half the server dies.
Yep. Yep.
No
Yep.
toilet. Yeah, yeah,
No
no
toilet.
toilet. That's Drake though.
Yep.
Drake doesn't care.
And then we played with it the other day. Those guns track really poorly. So if
Oh
like
god.
I was flying super slow around a like outpost, and we were trying to take out the turret with those side guns, like kind of playing as if I was like a gunboat or whatever, and
Yeah.
they couldn't track, and I was barely moving. We were moving like 50, 60 meters per second, and I was just flying in a circle around it. It was no bueno. So
Lost in translation.
yep.
They want a cool drop ship for JT2. Let's, I don't know, slap some guns on a Drake.
Yep.
Give them
I
what
mean,
they
it's
want.
perfect. It's so perfect that it works, but at the same time, it doesn't work. But yeah, I don't know, Track. It sounds to me like we hit most of your points, but in case we haven't, do you have anything else you want to add or chat about? Anything like that?
Nope, I think that's pretty much it. I think
Okay.
it was a good year,
Yeah.
but with the good brought some bad. And I think that's pretty much what my point is.
Yeah, for sure. Um, all right, bro. Thank you so
All right.
much for coming on. I appreciate it. Again,
Thanks.
love the mustache. It's fantastic.
Thanks.
And yeah, we'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right. We could not do a year in review without one of the most popular and famous Answer the Call guests, Unmatched.
Oh, really?
That's you, buddy.
Okay, if you say so. I'm trying not to and ah too much. I've realized I've done that a lot in the past. That's because I normally come on the show with zero sleep. I've always done that. So I'm try my best not to do that.
All right, well
But I
don't do
think
that.
this year I would agree with you that it has been the best year for Star Citizen, arguably. I really do think that because it's gotten me to play for a little bit. It's gotten me excited about playing, and that's why I would say, it's been the best year for Star Citizen. We've had plenty of good tier zeros when it comes to CIG
Yeah,
version of tech
CIG
coming. You get what I'm
standards.
saying? Yes, the CIG standards. Um, Good tier zeros. We've had Reputation come in, looting, medical, clouds, and Gravlev wasn't a total disaster according to 3.16.
I
It's
mean,
not a total disaster. It was a lot better
there's
than
no
when they
point
first
for
introduced
it,
it.
but sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's no real point yet, but baby steps. But the other thing that I wanted to get into is now we have Jumptown that is back. That's good. I didn't get to participate in the first Jumptown, but that's something that a lot of previous, older Star Citizen players has gotten into, and I could see that that's going to create a lot of gameplay for a lot of people. haulers, PvPers, medical.
I wish I can agree with you on that, but it
Yeah,
probably will not, based on playing it, unfortunately.
yeah, well,
I would say that's one of
that
my biggest disappointments from this year, actually, is that.
oh wow.
Uh,
Okay. All right, if you say so.
well, you didn't play the
Another
first one, so before we move
no,
on,
no.
let me explain it a little bit as to why, so you you kind of understand. The first Jump Town, what you had to do was you had to buy you went to the console, just like trading, and you bought the drugs there. So it was a huge like if you got a big ship, it was a huge investment. Let's say 500,000 credits, and they didn't have missions that gave shit tons of credits like they do now. So 500K was like a big deal. If you had a few million on your account, you were rich. Whereas now
Okay.
people have 18, 20, 30 million like within a week of the wipe. And the so there was a buy-in, there was a risk. Also, if your ship exploded and you had any upgraded components, they were gone. They disappeared. They're dead. You have to rebuy them. So there was that as well. So there was tons of risk, and there was VoIP didn't work, so that you had to type things. I don't even think VoIP was in the game. So there was positives and there was negatives about it. And this one, it's just like a thing that pops out boxes, so there's no risk to it. You go there and you grab the boxes and you make some money, but you can't lose any components. You didn't invest anything initially into it. You just went there. The only thing you lost was like a little bit of time and whatever inventory you had on your ship or on your body, which again, looting is cool, but there's no risk to the reward. So
Yeah,
that like
I
Jump Town was
totally
about risk
understand
and
it then.
reward, and now it's just about reward and
Yep.
honestly ship combat and not ground combat, which is kind of disappointing. The first Jump Town obviously was all about ship combat because FPS wasn't as much of a thing as it is now, and they're trying to make it ground combat, but they don't really succeed. It's just everything's going to go to the air and be really far away from Jump Town.
Especially with the A2, that people are just gonna be dropping stuff and
Yeah.
killing all the FPS players and stuff like that. So
Yep.
yeah, I totally understand what you're saying now. That
Yeah.
that there isn't much of a risk anymore because they're not really buying anything. But moving on, I would say another good thing, another really big thing for me was that my frames and my performance is a lot better. I don't know if it's because I'm on 3600 hertz RAM now, but
Maybe.
it's playable for me now, and I could literally go into the verse, get good frames. On top of that, people could play hours on end without it crashing. That's
Yep.
another good thing.
Like you
That's
choose to
another.
leave a server because the server is like, oh, there's no more bounties to chase. You're not forced to leave a server because you crashed to the menu. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it is really
Um,
nice.
Yeah, and I'm doing this on really high graphics. I'm enjoying, like, I could finally play Star Citizen at close to its, like, maximum glory, So I'm
Yeah,
happy about that.
that's nice.
All right, now let's go into the bad stuff. I would
Okay.
say that uh we're still stuck at 50 players
Yeah.
per server, which uh, it's frustrating. You can't get the MMO feel. You know, if there's only just 50 players there. Not much interaction with how big the system is. You know, and that flows into the steel. What's it called? The
Cutlass
cutlass
steel.
steel.
Yep.
Yeah, the cutlass steel. Like, why do you have 16 seats in there if we only could fit 50 people on a server? Like, it doesn't. I don't see how that makes any sense. You've got that's just 9 less than half the server in that in the back of the cutlass, and not including the pilots and co-pilots and stuff like that.
Well, I
So
mean, they can't build chips for what the game is now. They have to build them
yeah,
for what hopefully it will be. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
do
and
understand.
yeah, and a redditor brought up this as a good point. I think that this cut less steel is gonna be a gigantic spawning ship for Squadron 42, like in Halo. They have those ships that spawn a ton of NPCs out of them. They jump out, and I think that's what's going to be used for in Squadron 42. And how do you bring a ton of NPCs to the player to fight them? There you go. Just bring a cutlass, cheap pirate ship. You know.
Maybe.
So and another thing that's a bad thing. No Squadron 42 this year. Not a
Not a
single
peep
word of it.
about it. Yeah.
Not even a peep about it. But if you look at the roadmap, almost all the chapters are done, which is a good thing, except for like I think only 2 chapters will lead into the middle of next year, which is good. Maybe I'm thinking that the chances of us hearing, actual release date might be as high, but that's just wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, you know.
Would you believe anything they said if they gave a date anyway?
Um, Not really. I think there's plenty of things that needs to be done. I don't, we don't have a finalized flight flight mechanics and stuff like that, the way the ships feel and stuff like that. So no, I wouldn't take it seriously. The feel of the game is not nailed down yet, and with a $500 million game, I would say this Squadron 42 has got to at least be an 8 out of 10 for people to not be like memeing about it for like years to come, so
Yeah.
that's another thing. No Squadron 42 info. Another thing, we're still stuck in Stanton. We're still stuck in one system that we started in. They took out that landing zone. I forgot what it's called because I haven't slept.
Levski.
So yeah, Levski. They took that out. And it another thing, it's kind of it's not really a bad thing, it's just like a fear of mine. I'm hoping that they didn't just like lack of a better term, blew their load when it comes to the content this year. Like they came back from the pandemic, and this is all the content they compiled together, and you know the rest of next year is going to be light on content or whatever. I'm just hoping that it's not going to be like that.
Yeah, I hope so too. We'll see. The thing for me is the end of the year hopefully is like this shift in direction where the they don't need to add like a huge amount of content. For me, I don't care if you add things like salvage or whatever. It's just a matter of how are you going to utilize the things that you've already put in the game, improve them, like looting and all that stuff and reputation, and start building things for us to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah. They could definitely build off of the things they currently have right now. I could see them making a really good loop with just the things they have right now. Maybe adding salvage somewhere in there, and we could have a really good microcosm of what Star Citizen could be in the future.
yeah, really small peek at what it might be like. It's just
Yeah.
how do you get a 50-player server to kind of
Yeah,
all
and
converge into one area and interact with each other in different ways, in PvP ways, in PvE ways, in community ways. Like that's what I hope their focus is like, all right, dude, we're hoping to deliver server meshing by the end of the year. So guess what? We're all stuck with 50 players for the entire year, basically, again in 2022. So how are you going to make the current experience a little bit more fun? That's my hope for next year.
Yeah, I think not that I care about this whatsoever. I really don't, not even a sliver. But I think they could easily add in, some racing tracks for the people that want to race on land or in air. In the PU, not like in a separate, uh, you know,
Not an arena
separate.
commander. Yeah.
Yeah, not an arena commander. I think they could do that in the game, even if it has them. Let's say if we could drop a special type of smoke, and it would create like a checkpoint, you know, and like we could race through that and like drop like a red smoke for the end of the race, and whoever reaches there goes through all the loops first and reaches the red smoke first will win that race. You know, they could do that easily. You know, just do
Yeah.
that for the people that wants to race. You
Yeah,
know,
just like the Grimhex race track, you know?
yeah,
That never happened.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have done it, but yeah. I don't know, Unmatched. I don't know, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that's all the things that I have to talk about.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. I've missed talking to you for a while, so we're glad we have you.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yes,
that.
it's
All
fun,
right,
man.
all right.
You're famous. Somebody just
I don't
typed
know
in
about
chat
that.
like, "Oh my god, I just got here and Unmatched is on the show." You know, he was hyped.
Okay.
Yeah.
If y'all say so. All right.
Yeah, they love
It was
you.
nice
dude.
talking to you.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye. Another fan favorite, old man, Mr. Johnny Morgan. Johnny, what's up, dude?
Hey. How you doing, Mikey?
Good. How's everything?
Good. Things have been really good, actually. I've had a lot of fun. So I'm gonna do the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Let's do it.
You're leaving the ugly out. You're gonna do the good and the bad. You gotta do the ugly too. So I'm gonna do that. My 3 points here, I'll get into it fast because the show's been pretty long. The first good I want to say is Atmo Esports and the streamer community coming together and building content, and CIG getting to a spot at least where the servers were stable enough for you guys to execute on that. So that's my good. I fucking loved it. Like, I totally hyped on it, right? Mikey left. He's gone.
I went to get my hoodie.
No, don't worry. I'm kidding. The bad, you guys have touched base on this too, right? The lack of transparency and the inability of CIG to kind of communicate those key details the community really wants. Kind of point in cases, whatever brought up is Jumptown 2.0, right? The idea that the economy breaking at this stage is kind of ludicrous. And we all feel that way as players. Like, who cares? You're going to wipe it anyway, man.
Exactly.
It's Tarkov.
None of this matters, dude.
None of this matters. And then the ugly for me, and I'm going to touch base on this only a little bit, was Twitch and TDL. That pushed me off of Twitch. I'm on YouTube now. If it's okay to say, I got my name channel, right? I hit that actual point where I'm now old man Johnny Morgan.
Sweet.
Oh, really good, Mike. And, you know, I've pivoted into trying to do new content and stuff, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing all new stuff, and a lot of it's because of Atmo Esports and you and Moist and everyone that took place in that, and just the crossover you guys are doing. Like, Moist stuff right now is incredible, and like, I loved it so much, and that's what I want to see. So that was really good for me that CIG got to a spot where the servers could at least deliver on that. So I'm with everyone on that. The bad, I really do feel, is Jumptown 2.0 is a great example of that, where they just
don't get it.
They're not really getting it, and there's some crew internally that has some political capital that keep making this, which I would say is a straw man argument about economy breaking, for the reasons that we've all stated. Right? I don't want to beat a dead horse here. They're just going to wipe. So who cares, right? Let us play it the way that we're talking now. The good on that is CIG iterates, and I really am impressed that they actually iterate on their shit. Xeno, they did not have to iterate on, right? They didn't have to do that at all.
None of us expected that. When that came out, we were like, whoa, what the hell? And it ended up being really good. I think that's a huge positive from this year.
Me too. And then they did the thing that you talked about, the collectible thing with it too. That armor does not leave my fucking inventory.
But also that armor was kind of like subpar as well. Like, it could have... I hope they learn like a little bit from that as well in the future, that like this thing should be a collectible that's unique and different. When you do stuff like this,
I hope they iterate on it.
Yeah.
Like, I actually hope they iterate on that collectible, right? And that we get that.
Well, there's more pieces to come.
Improvement on it.
Yeah.
And so that's for me, like, that's my good. I think they've done a pretty solid job all around. It's not what we want. We have a long road ahead of us. But people can actually build value. And I've done 2 PvP tournament events now. Last night was my second one.
Nice.
Week before was that. I had 16 people show up, right? We did, the first one was 4v4. So we had 4 teams of 4, single elimination. We did it on Daymar. The second one, we did 3v3s, and we had 6 teams, and we did it in Arc L2. and it was great. It took about 2.5 hours to execute. It's house league rules, right? Like, just bring a light fighter, right? Not like Atmo Esports fucking nailed the professional level side of it. Like, these are the builds. These are how we're executing on it.
Except for the Banu defender.
Yeah.
Got scammed on that.
I'm with you on that one. That was a weird choice. I got scammed. You know what? It can't all be winners, right? It was a good first iteration.
I could have been a winner, Johnny. I could have been a winner.
I know.
I had a chance.
It was such a good story.
I had
Where's
a chance.
The videos, by the way? Where is the video of you and Moist putting all that content together and talking over it and telling us your story and getting us more into that? Man, Water Potate is out all the time now, right? TDL bumped into Mateo, and I was in his chat watching. I was like, "Oh, that's the guy from esports," and they started chatting. Right, they had a real sweaty fight. Like the output from it, the secondary effects from it, it's been incredible. And so that's my good.
I haven't PvP'd since.
CIG.
I peaked.
It ruined me. So I joined an org, right? So I joined into a funnel. I'm not going to talk about the org and stuff like that, but you can find them on my YouTube channel. I love them. They're fantastic. We're having a lot of fun. I really wanted some more structured PvP. I didn't want to do the arena commander thing because I don't really love it. Because I'm with TDL on that. I want to fight in the PU, and the PU is a different environment than AC. AC, you glob around the middle. It's really great for learning how to dogfight. So if like Avenger 1 was doing a school, I would sign up for a second, right? And I would do his courses in AC because then he would teach me the base skills. But the strategy and the mixed deployment fleets and having, all these big ships, small ship, fighter wings, all that stuff working together, and all the combos of it are pretty crazy right now. And we've been doing that. So we did like a 25 versus 25 Battle of Yella, right? Herrick, Hammerhead, and a fighter wing. Amazingly fun. Amazing fun, right? Like, it's just, that's all I want to do now. And so touching on what you and Sig said at the start, I know I'm talking a lot, sorry, buddy. I want you to comment on this one too, is you were talking about the community team, and I agree with you guys. They need to fucking pivot. Excuse my language. They need to pivot away from this, we manage a forum idea, to we help the community use what we have right now to the best of our ability to have a really good, fun, successful, enjoyable time that also aligns with the company's need to have testing done on very focused shit. Stop being in the 90s, 2000 with managing a forum. I love Spectrum in the sense that the Friends Connect in game nailed it on that. That's all we need. We do not need the rest of the chats there. I literally, the first thing I do is hit F12 when I log in game, because text chats, and you talked about with Sig, are a terrible way to have a good conversation. You can't do it. If it's a complex, nuanced subject, text never conveys it properly. And my feelings at the time will get interjected into what someone's saying versus listening to the guy talk and be like, oh, okay, I understand what you're saying here. You're not on this. This is much easier to understand.
I've had moments where the first caller on today's show, I wanted to ban, but I ignored that feeling because I know that it wouldn't communicate. I'm missing something here, because every other interaction I've ever had with him in voice has been just like we had today. Totally reasonable. So, yeah, I agree, but at the same time, just for, what is it called? Not usability, but accessibility. You got to have the text chat there. Not everybody has a mic.
You do, but going forward, bros, no mic, no life. I will shoot you in the verse. Not right now, because it's still a little buggy, but later on, Daisy rules, bros. I'm not doing it. If you don't have a mic, you're getting shot because I can't trust you. You may be on Discord with other people, blah, 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 right? Like, no way. Get a mic. It's 2021. It's almost 2022.
Agreed.
You actually touched something here that I wanted to bring up. My other good was you. I'm going to shout you out on this one. And you understanding autism that one day. Like, this also leans to why you don't ban people for that stuff. You are very insightful and perceptive. I love your show for that, because you really nail in on the core things without getting caught too much in it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you for that, Mike. So, I love it. Anyway, and 316, I don't care. I really don't care. As long as they continue a relatively stable product, whatever they get out the door is what they're going to get out the door. They seem to be focusing up more. Hopefully they'll get Squadron 42 done with this push with the new Manchester studio. I'm very excited that Jared's going there. That's a huge, positive market signal for me. I don't know why, but it feels really like...
Jared's going there? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's moving there. He was talking, I think, in Moist Chat that he's actually moving there. I may be wrong, but I thought that's what he was saying.
Well, maybe the whole the whole like main hub of the where I guess LA was the main hub. Now it's starting to, even though the biggest studio was in the UK, CR was in LA, and if CR is not in LA, the main spokes have to be in I didn't see SEL this week, so I haven't watched it yet. So I didn't know. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I caught it on a Moist chat, so I may be wrong. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But that's what I caught
chat's
there,
confirming
and
as
wow.
well. Yeah, he
Yeah,
said it on
like
SEL this week.
that's huge for me. Like they're getting serial again. I was super serial about stuff. I think it's good. We'll see how it goes. Right, so Quadrant 42 has to drop. I'm actually more excited about it now than I was before, but I'm not really excited about it.
Yeah, because
like,
you
I'm
can't
not, like,
get, you know, it's not coming in 2022.
Oh, and I just don't get excited over video games anymore the way I used to and stuff like that. Like I guess I'm more pragmatic about it in my older age and with just like my need to deal with my own life issues. I got an autistic kid, so I got into indie. I've talked about this before, indie games, and so I have a different perspective on it. And it's just me. I don't expect people to share it either. So
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with what they've done. Like, and because for me again, it's the community, right?
Yep.
And I want to do one last shout out here. Meyer for the casting director for Atmo Esports. Beautiful, amazing. All right, I'm done. I'll shut up.
That was such an awesome tournament. That was definitely probably the highlight of my year, I think, as well. So, yeah, that was awesome.
Dude, that story.
Yeah, it was Cinderella for sure. That was not supposed to happen.
It was. And then even Brooke's comeback too, right? Yep. Like it was really good. Anyway, I've talked about this before. I'm gonna let you go. I love what you guys are doing, man. I love how you guys are pivoting and continuing to try to build value in the community, even against all the odds. CIG community team, please pivot. Please get behind the people that are building your value prop here in the community. Not just here, but in YouTube, in the orgs, in the guys that are putting sweat time into streamers chat, right? Like from Tough Mother to Rainbow Wrangler, like to everyone in between there. I'd really like to see them pivot into supporting you guys more and forget about Spectrum Warriors. Just kind of shut the fucking forum down, for fuck's sake. Sorry.
That's not going to happen. Because they can.
I know, but I hate
it's all
forum.
about. Sadly, it's all about the controlling of the narrative, and when the narrative gets out of hand,
wars
that
is
tends
all they
to
do.
be.
It's just flame wars.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is when things boil over into Reddit and get really heavy, and other people start talking about it than just inside this community, that's when they act, and they need to be ahead of things and understand their community better than they do now. And that's it.
I agree, 100%, man. Like they need to get ahead of these things instead of being reactionary, be proactive on it.
Yep.
And I just don't feel they're proactive at a community level.
I think a perfect example is just quickly before you go. The perfect example would be 316. The you knew this was going to happen, but waiting until Roadmap Roundup to say it. When we all are looking and going, what the hell is going on? Like immediately in that moment, like nothing that was supposed to be in 316 was in the PTU. You just sent the PTU to open. What is going on? Like, just be proactive. You could have totally told us that 3, 4, 5 days earlier. And it's just like, those are the things that I don't understand why we're not just like, yo, this is what's going on, guys. Open development. Fucking talk to me. I'll understand. I understand. I think a big part of the community freaked out and unreasonably so, but like I understood what happened.
You do understand really
and they
well
made the right
that is
decision.
your core value.
They made the right decision. That's it. Period.
And they could have just said up front, yo, we're just trying to get Jumptown 2 out for you guys to have something to do over the holidays. Yeah. This isn't going to be 316. We're just trying to get you something for the holidays that will be stable and good. It seems like that's all they're trying to do, which is
we'll
really
give you 316
nice.
when we get back.
Communicated in the worst way.
Yeah, we'll give you 316 when we get back. Oh, but by the way, just so you know, committed means like 90% of the time. Well, you know what? Nobody expects you to ever put 0% of the patch and not get 316 at all. So, like, whatever, man. It goes both ways. It's just, it was one of those things where, like, just be better, dude. Like, just be better. You
can't expect the average consumer to have a detailed understanding of the software development life cycle and the nuances of it. And
meanwhile, that's all the energy.
Your goddamn community team.
Holy shit, that's all they do. That's the entire energy of the global video production and the community team is like, we need to teach these people how game development works. I don't care. I don't care.
You don't care.
I want to play a game. Teach me how the game works. That's it.
You know that song, right? Jack Johnson, Where Did All the Good People Gone? Like, what may be important to you is not important to me. I don't really care about that stuff. Like, I understand it because I worked in it in software development, but it's like apps and stuff like that, right? Not games, but they're all essentially the same. And we all understand that, yes, it's a creative content thing that's really murky and it's really hard to put a number on. Like, hey, how long is the Sistine Chapel going to take to make? 5 days. Sure, tell them 5 days so we get the money. Great, we got the money. Okay, we're going to tell them 20 days now, right? Until it's built, but and keeping them going, the hype, because it's the Sistine Chapel, right? This thing's super cool and dope. But he lied about how long it was going to take to make that. When Michelangelo pitched that, he was like, "It's a year, bro. Totally a year, right?" It took him what, like a decade?
Yeah. Well, we're almost there, and we don't even have the foundation done. So.
No, but it's getting better. I'll give them credit on that. They are getting there. And we'll see. Server meshing is going to be the big one. We'll see if they can execute on it in the new year. And, if we can continue to build value on it and build a community on it, I'm good enough for me. But that's me, right?
Yep.
And I don't expect other people to feel that way.
Yep.
Keep holding them accountable, Mikey. You do it great.
Thanks, buddy. I try. I think more people have to do that, and I think we'll start getting the game that we all really want instead of the game
I'm hoping more people will
for.
Support you.
I get plenty.
Support you.
I get plenty of support. I'm happy. I think we're gonna be okay. I think this year was, from a personal perspective, the year that I got more support than ever, and I think it's because people are finally starting to come around and be like, first off, he's not as big of an asshole as he seems. Second, he tends to be not wrong on a lot of this stuff, and I think that's kind of been my year. Is I love the game. I want it to be successful, but I also just want them to be better. You claim to be making the best damn space sim ever. You claim to be doing things different, and I don't see either of those things. I see you doing a lot of the same bullshit that AAA studios do, and be better. That's just how I feel, in so many aspects.
I agree. Be better. It doesn't take much to be better for us, too. We just want some legitimate
My
things.
expectations are low.
The collectible point you made, they are pretty low, right? They are. And we just want some, engagement, really. It's engagement and, it's a hard hurdle. They've gotten into that defensive mode with, blah, 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 whatever, right? We've been down it. I think you guys have nailed it on the head. Keep building value. Detox, Crucian, Atmo esports team, fantastic. Really looking forward to Daymar Rally. It's going to be incredible. So congrats, guys. Everyone involved. Everyone who's building content out there, keep doing it. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. You too, Johnny. Have a good one, buddy.
Cheers.
Bye. All right. So that is today's show. So that was pretty good. I was really hoping to get a queue of 10, 15 people, and we all just say one positive, one negative, and we just go down the list and talk for a few minutes each. I thought that would have been super sweet. Maybe next week we do our expectations for 2022. I think that might be interesting. So one thing that I have been trying to do is putting out the subject for Answer the Call on Fridays, Thursday night, Friday morning, and kind of give you guys some time to figure out what you want to talk about, what you want to say, what you want to do. I have a lot of plans for the future, and for me, Star Citizen is obviously going to be at the forefront of those plans, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching on Twitch right now. You made this year more incredible than I could have ever imagined. You've given me the hope and keeping my dream not only alive, but reviving and breathing life into my dream of being a content creator full time. You've helped support me and to not have to kind of drive myself into the ground working endless hours. You've given my wife an opportunity to deal with her bipolar and not have to stress about having to go to a job every day, and focus on her mental health. And you've just, I don't know. You've just improved my life so much, from the conversations that we've had and the perspectives that you have, all the way down to the least important thing, the financial support. So thank you for giving me a place to go to every day and to vent and to communicate and to learn and to laugh and to cry. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for a wonderful 2021. And before I start crying, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week, I hope. Sorry for the lack of, I guess just the lack of last week's show, but I think our shows have been really good. So I'm going to try my best to keep the content for this podcast as good as possible, and given the future of Star Citizen, at the micro future of Star Citizen, there's not much to talk to from a gameplay perspective, so we're probably going to be talking to friends of the show. We're going to bring on as many content creators as possible and just shoot the shit with them over the next few weeks, probably months. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it, everybody, once again.